All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to week two of the product creation workshop. I'm Charles Harper, and I'm glad to have you back. And without further ado, we're going to dive right into the content so that you can really get started. Now, hopefully, you have worked through with the assignment for week one. It's very important because what we're going to be talking about today, we're really going to be building on what you did for last week, as well as what we talked about last week. You'll see right here on my screen that I've got here a slide from the last presentation of last week. I do want to fly through that information because it's going to give us some insight on what we want to cover this week. And there is going to be a little overlap, but we're actually going to show you how to do some of the stuff that we talked about in the last call. Now, one of the things that you want to determine first of all, is where are people asking the questions? We talked about that last week. We talked about the fact that what you're going to do and what you should have been doing last week is hanging out where your customers are. Now, you might ask, now, what does that mean? What that means is that you have to really determine what kind of questions are being repeated. We're going to actually look at how you're going to actually do that. We're going to go inside of the Warrior Forum and inside of some of the internet marketing groups so that you can see what kind of questions are getting repeated and what kind of questions are being asked. Now, the other thing is you want to really get a handle on, well, what are people really struggling with? Now, sometimes this is going to be the newbies that are going to be struggling with things. These are going to be sometimes advanced marketers. Sometimes it's just going to be people who might have been operating in a certain niche, but just didn't know about a particular aspect. When people first come and they got started with video, right? There was a period, I believe, in 2013, where not a lot of people really knew about video, and the fact that I knew about how to create external links allowed me to create a product that people really did like and really did benefit from, because it was something that they didn't know how to do, and I actually taught them how to do it in that product. So sometimes it's a matter of being in the right place at the right time and really determining how you're going to be able to create something that people are really going to gravitate toward. Now, one of the things that I said, I think in week one, is that, whatever your niche is, you really do need to be reading. And you need to be reading things other than the things that are talked about and discussed by your peers. And we'll get to that probably next week when we talk about actually creating the product and where you're going to actually get the information from. And then the information is going to really be valuable and really set you apart from other product creators. Now, you want to start looking for certain pet phrases, and you're going to see some of those in when you start doing your research. When you start going in places like the Warrior Forum, you start going in places where other internet marketers hang out. You're going to see phrases like, nobody ever teaches this part, or no one really discussed this, or I've never seen this information taught anywhere. That's going to be your clue. Right? That's going to be your key. That's going to be your clue that you want to start looking to create your product in that particular area. Now, when people say no one ever teaches something, that means then that you have an opportunity to really get in, and if you can do the research or even outsource the product creation, you're going to be able to generate some income, and you're going to be able to get momentum with people, because you're going to be answering a question that people actually are really struggling with. We talked about last week. And I'm going to show you this today. You want to look at the products that people say they like the most. Right? What kind of information, the product that people really like. In some cases, you want to go out and buy that product. In other cases, you just want to kind of take a look at it. Take a look at the sales page. Take a look at what they're offering. What was it about that product that people really liked? You're going to get a lot of clues when you find people who are talking about real things and they say, wow, I really like that product. And you will look at life differently. Right? You will look at your life as a marketer differently when you are hanging out in forums and you're looking there and you're trying to determine what people really need. And here's something that I found. I talked about this last week. Some people are going to be talking about the things about the products and the people that they got the most from. right? They're going to talk about people that really taught them, really learned. You're going to want to go and check those people out. Now, again, you don't want to make a a lifelong study of this, but last week, when you went through all this, you were supposed to decide on 2 or 3 sub niches. We're going to narrow that down this week, and we're going to go through the process. We're going to actually go and do the actual research to determine what the needs are this week. And then, of course, you were supposed to go to the final step, which is to really look to try to determine what those 2 or 3 niches are going to be this week. You're going to decide on your top 2 or 3 niches. You want to find out if there are products in that niche. So in other words, you should be looking, you should have been looking on Clickbank, you should have been looking in JVzoo, you should have been looking in places like Zaxa and other places where internet marketers buy products from other internet marketers. I think there's another site called Deal Guardian. Are there products that discuss this subject? Now, if there are no products there, that doesn't mean that you can't create one. But what it does mean is you're going to have an uphill battle trying to determine or trying to convince people that it's worth their time to want to buy your product when it may not be something that people are looking for. So really do look to see if there are other products in this niche, and be careful that if you know that this is a question that people want to answer, right? Don't rule out, right, because they're not other products in niche, but other products in a particular niche is an indication that people are buying. One thing you should have been determining, is this something that people are new or struggling with? Is this something, and then you should have been able to determine if there was room for another product in this area, right? So in other words, is this something that, there's just so many products in there and the people are so experienced, you don't want to get in there and slug it out with them? Okay, did other people purchase the products they purchased because the person who was teaching it was so experienced? Right. So if you come in as somebody new, are you going to be looked at? Is somebody going to not buy your product because they bought the product that you're looking at because of the experience of the person, right? They bought it because of the person. That may not necessarily be a sub niche you want to go into. And then is there new information about blogs and social media? I think I said this last week, because I do some things in video. One of the blogs I read a lot is onlinevideo.net and Real SEO. And I read those blogs because they are very important to what's going on in digital media, in video marketing. And so I like to know what's happening. I like to know what people are, what people who are on the cutting edge are talking about. Because in some cases, those are going to be the things I might create a product about. Right. And I'm going to show you some product ideas next week that you might not have thought of, that really come from things that are free on the web, that are being taught that other people just don't know about. Oftentimes, some of the things that big corporations are dealing with, right, they will give you great product ideas, and then they'll actually give you clues on how to construct an outline and really teach people something that people are not really thinking about in the business opportunity niche. Right. Remember, I talked about that last week. We are in the business opportunity niche. And so in some cases, you're going to be separate from the corporate world, right? Some of the things that big corporations are doing in marketing, this really have anything to do with us in the business opportunity niche. But in some cases, what they're doing is actually going to be something that's eventually going to be a trend among those people who are operating in the business opportunity niche. And if you can be the one to bring that information to market, you are going to be able to profit from the difference in timing, right? So always be reading blogs and social media in your niche. I mean, don't get on social media just to play around and just to be there. When you get in social media and blogs, you're reading these articles because they are going to help you to create products and to determine the pulse of your market. And this week, you were supposed to be writing out the titles of your potential products, or at least the topics, right? And in whatever the niche you're going to be working in. Now, most of us, I know that you're working in the make money online niche. And so we are going to be primarily talking about that. So hopefully you have the titles of these potential products. And of course, hopefully you contacted me, you reached out to me if you had any questions about this particular stage of the course. Now, this week in this session, we're talking about the need. Last week, we talked about the niche, right? Determining what your niche is, your niche and your sub niche. Now we've determined what the niche is. We've determined where we're going to operate. And now we want to determine what the need is. What is the need inside of the niche or the sub niche where you can actually give people information that's going to help them to move further down the line and for them to be able to, for them to want to buy your product. So what we want to do when we determine the need is we need to determine what's relevant. And what's relevant is something that people are already asking about, right? It's going to be rare where you're going to bring a brand new topic to the market. Now, again, you will in some cases know about something that if you're reading and you're in the know, you're going to know about some things that are going to be coming. But again, that's still relevant, right? It's going to be something that people are going to be asking about. You want to make sure it's going to be relevant to the niche. And again, we have to have some idea of what people are talking about, the people who are going to buy, not your peers, right? Not necessarily the people who are other marketers who are like you, your peers. Now, and if you're working in the make money online niche, it's a little harder to determine that. But when you're in a group, you need to be listening and conversing as someone who's researching to create a product, not necessarily researching just to socialize, right? And to empathize. You really do want to get a handle on what people are really asking. What kind of questions are people are asking? Write them down. Right? Write them down every time you see one. And it doesn't matter. You can use a spreadsheet, you can use pencil and paper. It doesn't really matter, right? But every time you see a question that people are asking about their internet marketing business, if you're in the make money online niche, if you're in the weight loss niche or whatever niche, if they've got a question that they're genuinely, and they're on social media and they are reaching out to other people to help them answer the question, write that question down. That question could either be a subtopic in your information product, or it can be the topic. It can be the entire topic on your content, right? On your course. And of course, I said this in last week, and I want to highlight this, right? You need to be hanging out where your customers are online. So if you are in a niche other than the make money online niche, right? You don't need to spend an inordinate amount of time with other marketers. You need to be spending time among people who are customers. If your buyers are going to be stay-at-home moms who are 18 to 54, you need to be hanging out there. If your buyers are going to be males from 18 to 34, you need to find out where they hang out online, and you need to be there, and you need to listen, and you need to lurk there, and you need to figure out what their questions are. Hanging around other marketers is not going to get you the information that you want to even determine what the product should be, right? You need to be hanging out on LinkedIn with your customers. Right? Again, that doesn't mean that you're talking, but it does mean that you're hanging out, you're listening, you're seeing what they are actually literally discussing. And we are going to do a little bit of that tonight. And of course, we should be developing a list of questions and topics that we can determine that others are asking. That is what we are doing when we are determining the need in a particular case. Now, I want to dive into the internet marketing sub niche, and I realize that not every one of you are in it, but I know most of you probably are. And what you want to do when I do this is you want to do the very same thing for your niche, right? And so when I start looking at a forum today, I'm going to look at the warrior forum. Now, that means that you need to be looking for forums in your niche, not the warrior forum. Okay, the only reason you should be in the warrior forum is if you're creating a product for the make money online niche. The only reason you should be looking on JVzoo is because you are looking to create a product for people who are looking to make more money online, right? And again, I realize that's most of you, but if it's not you, that is not the place where you're going to do the research we're going to be doing. You're going to have to take this concept and translate it over into your niche. Right now, as I said, we need to determine what people are struggling with, and let's start first. Now, I'm going to go to a site that we talked about last week. To go to the site Clickbank, and why we want to go to Clickbank is we want to go to Clickbank because Clickbank is going to determine, it's going to actually show us, right? And I'm gonna actually show a different screen here. Okay, Clickbank can show us, in particular in the make money online niche. It is very good for this. Now there are lots of other niches that are covered by Clickbank, but in particular in the make money online niche, we can get a handle on what other people are buying, and we can do that by going to the Clickbank marketplace, right? And we want to do that, and when we go there, again, we went through that last week, and we're seeing these other niches. Now, when we talk about our particular niche or sub niche, we want to start by putting that information, okay, in the find products area. Right now, when we talk about, let's say that our particular niche, our particular sub niche in internet marketing is going to be that we want to do product creation, right? And that's what we're talking about. Let's just type in product creation and let's click search. And what we're going to find is that we see there that we've got quite a few results here that Clickbank is going to share with us. Now, it doesn't mean that we need to go rushing into determining whether or not we're going to sell that product. Now, these results are sorted by keyword relevance, right? So we want to do is we want to determine what is what's selling by popularity. Right, and we might not see much there that is going to be on product creation. Okay, we've got manifestation miracle and affiliorama, long tail keyword research, and what we want to do is we want to start looking at these offers. Now you'll notice here that there is a lot of statistics here, how much people are making on an initial sale, gravity, and all of these factors that really give us an indication as to whether or not people are actually looking at these products. Now, when you're looking at Clickbank, what you want to determine is this a niche where people are creating and buying products? And in particular, the subject of product creation isn't necessarily a hot seller on Clickbank. Now, we do see here that here is a PLR membership that actually does have some traction. And we want to go through the entire list in Clickbank because we want to see if people are buying products on product creation. If that is a niche, that's what we're going to teach on. We want to find out if other people are creating products on that subject. Now, we obviously don't want to just go and look just at Clickbank. We want to also look at what's selling in JVzoo. We want to go through the same process inside of JVzoo. And let's take a look here at JVzoo. I'm going to pull up JVzoo here. Okay, now you should see my screen that has JVzoo here. Now you're going to notice that inside of JVzoo, there's an area here that's called Find Digital Products to Promote. Now, the reason we're going to start looking here is we want to determine what has been selling, and how well it's been selling. And so we want to write in here our subject, project, and we really want to see whether or not there are products that are selling on product creation. Here's one that did sell: digital product creation, right? Digital product machine, product creation generation, 250 copies. This one sold 6,000 copies. So this is a subject that people are buying products in. Product creation toolkit, right? Sold 100 copies. So this is a subject that, again, people are buying products in. You want to go through the JVzoo marketplace, and all you're really trying to do is you're trying to determine, okay, is this something that nobody at all is interested in? Right? Because if nobody at all is interested in it, we might not want to do it. But we need to go to the actual places where people are buying products to see if it's something that people are looking for. Now, the other thing you want to do is you want to look, and you want to go to this particular link here that I'm looking at. It's called Launch, and you want to click that link. And why you want to do that is because that's going to allow you to sort for what's most recently been sold. Right. So we want to determine now, is this a subject that, hasn't sold at all recently? Right. Do most of the products no longer sell? Do we have anything? And here's one that actually sold in April. Right. Sold 1,000 copies through their entire sales funnel. So So in this particular case, I picked a subject just out of the air. You want to put your subject and keyword in there. And when you're doing this, right, take a look at the sales pages of the products that are actually selling, right? So we want to take a look to see, well, what is this product that's selling? How to launch a digital business. Well, we don't know what that is, but we want to take a look to see what it is. We want to see the sales page. We want to see what people are actually offering in these packs. Again, if we're going to create something similar or something in the niche, we want to determine if it's something that we can actually do. Right, so you're going to get a feel for what's selling. What is it that makes a product? Is it just a video course? Is it a video course and some other things? Is it is it going to be something that you are going to need to outsource some parts? Are you going to outsource the whole thing, or are you going to do the whole thing? Again, you want to get a handle on what people are actually selling. Okay, now in addition to JVzoo, we also want to go, and we've talked about this before, we also want to go to the Warrior Forum, right? So I'm going to go to the Warrior Forum right now. And of course, I just misspelled it. Okay, so what we're going to do here, once we get to the Warrior Forum, is we are going to go to take a look to see what is selling. And we can do that by going to the Warrior Special Offers Forum. Now, what we're doing right now is we're just taking a look at what's selling. And we're going to do some other research here in the Warrior Forum in a minute, but we're just determining what kind of products are actually selling. Now, I'm going to get inside of this form, and in order to search this form, I think I've got to actually be logged in. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. Okay, so we're just going to log right in there. And then we're going to actually search the forum. And we only want to search the WSO form because we only want to know whether or not there are products that are on our particular subject. Let's just type in product creation. I like to put in the brackets there. I like to put in parentheses so we can narrow down our search sum. Now, again, remember, you should be in the forum in your niche, number one. Number two, you should be looking inside of a forum that you should be putting the subject matter in for the niche topic you've already chosen, right? And we can see here that there are products that are selling on the subject of product creation, right? So we're not without evidence that people are talking about product creation. Now, one thing that you can do, and I'm going to show you how to do this here in a minute. I guess I could have done this, and that is that you are going to need to. I'm going to go back to this screen where we went to Clickbank, and I want to go to Google here, and let's first take a step back here, and let's just find first of all some of the forums in some of the other niches. Right, so let's say that I was in the low carb dieting forum online, and that's all you're going to do. You're going to type in that search so that you can find other forums. Here's the low carb forum, low carb friends forum, main low carb forums. Maybe we might type in Atkins diet. So in other words, we want to find the forums in our niche. I just went to the Make Money Online forum. But what you're going to do is you're going to find the forums in your niche, right? And you don't have to use that. You can do another search. You don't have to do a forum, right? You can actually search. If you're, we call this dog training forum. And remember, some of the topic areas that we can actually get from some of the information we got last week from Google Trends, right? Remember, we did a search in Google Trends to start determining what our niche is, but we want to find out where the forums are because we want to hang out there. That's where we're going to start getting and doing our research on the questions, right? So we want to find out what kind of products are being sold. Now, again, let's kind of go back here to the Warrior Forum because I want to show you how to do this research. Now, we've looked at the products to determine what is actually already selling, right? And we do have a niche that's selling. So now, one of the things that we want to do, we just took a look at the WSO forum, and then what we want to do now is we want to confirm our suspicions. Right, so we want to make sure we're right. We want to make sure that we can do this, and there are some places that we can go in order to determine whether or not we're on the money in terms of our suspicions that hey, people are looking for products on product creation, and we could do that by going to any of your social media accounts where there are groups that meet in your niche. Right, we can go to Facebook, and then we can type in, just type in internet marketing and find forums. Right, we'll get a lot of suggestions here. We can type in our niche, right? In some cases, we can type in sometimes we might even want to just type straight into our niche. In this particular case, I know the names of the forums, so I might type in the name of the forum. I can type in any of the catchphrases inside of internet marketing. You can do the same thing inside of your niche. Right now, I might actually be inside of a group, and one of the groups where you can really get a handle on what people are offering is there is a group, if you're in the Make Money Online niche, called Munch Eye. Now, why do you want to be inside of the Munch Eye group? Well, Munch Eye will tell you what products are already launching, right? This is where the products are actually launching, and you'll be able to determine what people are actually trying to sell, right? Is there any interest? Now, this doesn't mean that the products are going to sell, But what it does mean is that there are some experienced product creators who are looking to actually sell products. So if you can, you want to join Munch Eye, and you want to take a look to see what products are launching. Now, you don't just have to use the Facebook group. You can actually go um, to the website itself, muncheye.com, and the site will tell you pretty much what products are launching and where people are looking to advertise what it is they're going to be. All we're doing right now is we're determining whether or not you are right about your suspicions. Are you right about the questions that are being asked? Are you right about where products are being created? Right? You'll get a handle on this by looking at places like Munch Eye. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to go back to the Warrior Forum because I want to do a little more in-depth of a search, and we want to dive a little deeper. And we want to actually go into some of the sub-forums to see where some of the discussion is happening. And so, and so we can actually do that in the Warrior Forum. You'll be able to do this in the forum where you are. And all you'll need to do is you want to go and do a search inside of the discussion. And when you do that, you're going to go inside of the forum and you want to search with your term, right? Whatever your subject is, whatever your topic is, whatever your subtopic is, your sub niche. All of those things will make great searches to determine if you are right. Right now, I'm just placing product creation. I could obviously use the phrase create a product. I could just put product in there. But I want to know if this is something that people are struggling with. Do you do product creation before affiliate marketing? How much money did you earn from your latest product? Have you made your first sale online? Where should I start? See, these are good indications that, look, people would be interested in product creation, right? These are all related topics, affiliate marketing versus product creation, right? Finding top-notch product creators, right? Hey, product creation experts, how would you set up this funnel, right? There's a great question. Is it possible to make $100 a day online? Right? If I were to answer that question with product creation, that would be a great topic. Okay, why 80% of websites do not monetize? Okay, that's a great topic for product creation. Okay, so what you're doing here is you're trying to determine what kinds of questions are going to be related to your topic area, right? And go and don't just hang out in one particular forum, and don't just look at the titles. Sometimes you're going to have to dig a little deeper and go a little further, right? You may want to go inside of your forum and might want to do a search inside of the entire forum, right? That's a little trickier. And you might want to have your your search term a little more narrowly defined. But what you're doing is you're really diving deep to try to find out whether or not your product is going to be something that people are going to want. Now, again, I mean, there are going to be other forums, just as there are other internet marketing forums. Again, all you're determining is whether or not there's an interest in your topic area, right? And if it's a question that people are actually asking, and what kinds of questions you can answer with your product. Okay, now, how do you determine which projects are going to be the best ones? Well, here's one way to kind of get through this quickly. Now, you want to look at the list of products that you have already done, and right off the bat, right off the bat, have you had any results in the topic area, right? If you've got 3 topics or 4 topics that you found based on sub niche, based on the questions that people are asking, and you've had any results at all, you've had if the topic is list building and you've had success in building a list, then this is probably going to be one of the best places for you to start. You've already had results in an area where people have not had any results in at all, right? So if you've had decent or some success and results in a particular topic area, not only can you ramp up your results, but you can also start teaching on something that you know better than someone else because you've had an actual result. Now, if you have not had any success at all, right? Do you know someone who's had success in this area? Now, we talked a little bit last week about having relationships with people and other marketers, right? When you have these relationships, one of the things that's going to come up is some of the, the areas where people are already having success. And if you know someone that's having success in an area, this is going to be a great way for you to even consider partnering with someone who can help you to create a product in an area that, well, yeah, you might know it well, but maybe you just haven't had any results. Those two areas, right? If you this is a way to almost eliminate, I'd say 90% of the struggle that people have on where to start. This is your first alternative. And I said this in a previous webinar. I said this last week. If you've had results in an area, that's probably going to be the best place to start because you're already ahead of the game. You're doing something that other people have not done, right? So decide right from the start. If you had results in one of your topic areas, that's going to be the place you want to start. Now, maybe you haven't had any results in any of the areas, okay? Another thing you want to start thinking about is, well, can you get a result in the area? Can you get some results? Now, I realize that part of our goal here is for you to finish this product creation course relatively quickly, this 30-day span. But if you can get results quickly and you can do it and you can do it repeatedly, you know, this is a practical place for you to start. It's always practical for you to start creating products in the area where you've already had success and other people have not, right? There's always going to be somebody new who hasn't had the success that you've had, even if you've done something, and it doesn't have to always be a monetary result. Maybe you created a fantastic sales page. Maybe you figured out how to do something inside of YouTube that other people have not done. Maybe you figure out how to do something on a forum that other people haven't figured out how to do. If you've done that, then you have a great place to start if other people are already struggling with how to do what you already know how to do. But, and this is important now, when you start talking about this, how to figure out which product is going to be best for you to start with. Now, you want to think about, you know, the closer your results are to actually making people money, that's where you want to start, right? So you had a result, and that result really is something where you made money, and they're going to make money if they follow your steps. You want to do that over showing them how to do something. Right? Showing them how to build a WordPress blog is fantastic, right? But it's not necessarily going to be as close as how to show them how to generate an affiliate commission based on something you know how to do and based on the result that you had. So in other words, start thinking about the closer to an area where people are actually going to be able to follow your steps and actually see money go into their account, they're going to be more interested in buying that then you're teaching them something. Now, and that's not to say that teaching is going to be a bad product, but the closer you can get people to actually making money, you are going to find people buying your product faster, right? So this is kind of how you start determining of the topics that you have, which one is going to be the most viable. Now, again, and I want to come back to this. Now, if you can't get any results at all, right, and you really at this point you aren't going to necessarily know how to do this, you're going to have to borrow some other people's results, or you're going to have to borrow their knowledge. We're going to talk about that, borrowing their knowledge, in a minute by outsourcing, but you are going to have to borrow results if you don't have any and you don't know how to teach a particular area where people are actually struggling and people want to know something. right? But see, you what you've done is you determine a market need, and you determine that something will sell because you know people are looking for information. So by investing in outsourcing or by investing in a partnership, you're not actually giving anything away, and you're not doing any damage to yourself. What you're doing is you're investing in being able to service a market need that's already there, that you verified, that you determined. So you don't need to get anxious about spending money in order to make money, right? Even in internet marketing. Now, internet marketing isn't necessarily going to be free all the time. There are a lot of things that you can do at low cost and free and sort of getting started in this business. Not everything is free. Not everything needs to be free, right? Okay, so now here's I want to caution you right now, because a number of you, and I know that this is circulating in the internet marketing community, that you can easily just do an interview product. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you to be careful with that interview product. Be careful with that interview product, because for the simple reason that an interview product is not always going to be your best alternative to create a product. Let's start talking about why. Now, make sure the individuals that you interview know their subject. You can get an expert or a supposed expert or somebody who is supposed to have sold a product in this area. That does not mean they're going to be a good fit for your product, for your people, right? Doesn't mean that. They might have star power, but if they don't communicate good, solid information, you haven't helped your buyer. And your buyer's not going to appreciate that just because you stuck an interview in there, right? That might be a great way for you to get the content, as long as it's true, as long as the interviewer, the person you're interviewing, knows their subject. And it's your job, right? When you interview them, it's your job, if you're going to put this in your product, make sure they don't give your people anything fluffy. And listen, this has happened to me before. So I've hyped up interviews, a particular interview, and the interview got done, and I thought, well, man, this wasn't all that hot, right? Sometimes you're going to have an interview, and it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread. You're going to wonder, wow, how did I land this person, right? They're no name, but they have fantastic information. In other cases, you're going to walk up on somebody, you're going to think, well, wow, good gracious. This is it. This is all they did. Look, make sure these people that you bring in your product, they don't give fluff, right? So you lead the question. You have to be the one to guide the process. You are selling the product. You are asking. Now, when you ask questions, here's what you're doing. You are asking on the behalf of the people who are going to be buying your product, and you need to be asking these questions as if these people know nothing. Right? You should assume that your audience knows nothing, and that you want to ask the questions of the person being interviewed, so they will answer in such a way that will help people who know nothing. And when somebody says something that's unclear, you need to stop them. You need to say, well, hold on, let's clarify that a little bit. Hey, let's go over that one more time. Re-summarize. Do whatever you have to do to get them to make it clear to your actual buyer. So when you get an interview product, it can work, right, by interviewing other people, as long as you're really communicating something. And now, use an outline, look, please, because you need to guide the person through a set of questions that is really going to help the people to get information. And you're not going to get that if the person goes off talking about, who they know and how they had this great experience and how they really came to know and understand what. You don't. That's great for advertising. That's great for selling, right? But that's not going to be great for your product. Now, the person's already bought your product, so it's your job to make sure you communicate effectively in the product. And it's going to happen. I just said this. Sometimes a person's interview is just not going to be worth putting as a paid product. Do not use it, and that means don't put it in the copy, right? Don't advertise it in the copy as being anything. If you want to advertise it, make it a bonus, right? But don't put it in there as something where people expect to get something, because if they listen to it and they expect to get something and you get a lot of fluff and it's not worth their time, then hey, you've just sold them something that they didn't actually get. So if it's not good, it's not good. No, there's no shame in it, no harm, no foul, nothing personal. Just don't use it as part of the sales process. And when you do an interview product, always provide a PDF or a slideshow or something, some kind of guide, because not everyone's going to want to listen to an interview in real time, right? But they still need to get the information. So an interview product can work great if you provide those extra ways for people to be able to get the actual content. And some people, and myself included, right? If I buy your product, I'm going to want you to give me something to read it, right? I don't want to always sit and listen real time. I want to read it sometimes. And so you're going to have to give me a PDF document so that I can get your content, right? A summary, and a summary will do. I'm not talking about a transcript. And I don't have it in my slide presentation, but guys, to be honest, I can't think of a time that I've actually read a transcript. Now, yes, it makes your product more bulky, but just honestly, right? It's never helped me to be able to read a transcript, because it doesn't read like something that you'd actually read in a book. It reads like somebody talking. That's because that's what it is. So don't. I'm going to suggest that if you include a transcript, that's wonderful. It'll bulk up your product. It'll make it more bulky. But actually include something like an outline that people are actually going to use, right? And again, this goes without saying. The interviews just can't be all over the place. They have to have a specific goal. Okay, you have to start the interview by stating what the goal is, and you got to move that person being interviewed through it so that they help you to accomplish that goal for your buyer. Right? It's got to benefit the reader or the listener, the buyer. Right? You got to guide them through it, however you need to do, so that the information actually gets there. Now, I want to blow through this really quickly. For some of you, and it's important to cover this before we start talking about this next week, because you might determine, okay, I don't know this subject well enough, and I don't want to partner with anybody. You might want to outsource the project, and you might want to go and find something. I'm going to show you how to do that a little more next week, but if you're going to outsource your project, you just don't know. You know this is going to be a seller because people are asking the question. You know that if you can help them in this area, that they will actually get some value. Then you might want to determine. You might want to think about outsourcing. Right now, you want to be in touch with your budget, so you need to know how much you're going to spend, because you're probably going to have to hire a copywriter and a graphics person in order to sell the thing. Right. So, and I'm talking about this at this stage because let's say that you are at the point and you know you are not going to be able to have the expertise in order to answer the question that needs to be answered. That does not mean that you give up and walk away from the question. If you know it's going to sell, what you got to do then is you got to go and get okay, this is a difference in mentality, right? Because I've been here before. There's a point at which I said, well, I don't know anything about that. I can't answer the question. So I'm not going to create a product in that, even if I know that there's a need for it. Right? What you've got to do is you've got to start thinking about, if you can afford it, you get someone else to create the product for you. And there are knowledgeable people out there. You're going to have to go to some of the places like Elance, Odesk, and the Warrior Forum to create the product. But there are people who will create products for you. Okay, now we're going to talk about how you're going to do that, but you need to start thinking about that this week, because again, what I don't want you to do is to walk away from something because either you haven't had a result or you just don't know it, and you're not going to know it through these 4 weeks. Right? If you've got it in your budget, you can outsource the project and the product creation. So now this week, it's about 52 past the hour. Here's what you're going to need to be doing this week. Now it's time for you to narrow down your choices and to pick the best candidate, right? Even if you know you're going to have to outsource it, it's time for you to pick one. Okay, so you've got subtopics, you've got your niche. By the end of this week, you need to have picked your best candidate in order to determine. So now, what are you going to be thinking about? You need to address these things. What are people buying? So you should have already looked at Clickbank, JVzoo, Warrior Plus, Warrior Forum. And if you haven't looked at those things in the context of your own niche, you have to look at what are people buying in terms of information product. If you are in a niche where information products are not sold, you might want to look at Amazon. Are people buying ebooks in those areas? Because you're going to be selling a digital product. What do people really want to know? You should be inside of the forums. You should be inside of social media, listening and watching for their questions to determine what your best candidate is. What are people talking about in their groups on social media? Okay, you need to address whether or not somebody else is going to have the expertise that you don't have. Are you going to have to partner with anybody? Right? If you're going to have to partner with someone, that again, don't walk away from the market need because you have to partner with somebody. Right? It's better to get a little bit of a lot than a lot of a little bit. Right? So if you know there are going to be a lot of buyers, right, you're going to be a lot of interest in your product because you've done the research right, then you are going to want to partner with somebody. Right? So again, difference in mentality. It's very important you understand this. When you find out and you know something is going to sell based on the research you've done, don't walk away from the product just because you need to find somebody to partner with in order to help you deliver something that's going to be of value to the people that are looking for that information. Right? And again, we talked about you want to determine whether or not you will need to outsource the product. Okay, and so by the end of this week, you should have decided on your title, your topic or subject. You don't need a title yet. Don't worry if you don't have a title yet. Don't worry about that. You should begin your outline. Start outlining the solutions. What are the steps that it's going to take? If you don't know them, again, this is where you're going to have to start thinking about, okay, I'm going to have to get somebody to help me, right? And get someone who either will contribute as a partner, or you might have to get someone to create the course for you on Elance or Odesk or one of the places where freelancers are. Okay, so that is your assignment for this week. We have covered the niche and now we've covered the need. Okay, so next time we are going to be covering the product, and then the final week we're going to be covering the people. Okay, so the niche, the need, the product, the people. Okay, so now thank you everybody. Now if you have any questions, please don't forget to reach out to me this week and get your questions over to me. I'll be happy to answer them. And as you start to get into this process of determining the need, remember what you've got to determine is, is this going to be something that people are going to buy? If there's already products there, it's likely that people will buy them again if you can hit the right note. Okay, so with that, thanks everybody. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.